Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margo Sonia and Sonia Mansfield, talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margo Donahue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. It is coming up to Super Bowl weekend here in the States. Are we even allowed to say Super Bowl, or will the NFL come after us for using the word Super Bowl, which is trademarked, is it not?
Good point. We are recording this before let's replace super with something else. Best football extravaganza.
I was going with the Watch What Crappens guy say, and they just call it sports ball. Any sport?
Sports ball.
It's sports ball
Sports
weekend.
ball.
Football. Try to guess those references on your own, you guys. Anyway, we're feeling extra silly today. We're doing a quartet of creeps. So if this is your first time listening, this is a little bit different. Normally,
Yes.
Sonia and I take turns. We'll pick a creep and the other one picks a non-creep. This week, when we do one of these episodes, we do shorter versions of creepitude. So we'll have four different creeps, NFL creeps, on the show today. If we have time, we'll do a non-creep. We didn't really invest that much into it. Sometimes these goes a little bit long. But I think we're going to have a level of creepitude. So we're going to start not so bad, then go to shitty, but then we're going to end it really nice. Just to prepare you guys for that. Yes, just to prepare you for that. Trigger warnings, sexual assault, murder, general assholery.
Yes.
Things like that.
Poor sportsmanship.
Being a douche.
Mispronouncing names and not knowing shit about football.
We do have a basic Facebook page. I guess I should tell you now. We don't really use it all that often. It's a place people go to complain about our language. We do use salty language in this program. So if that's something you're against, try another show.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
We have a private Facebook group. You do have to answer a few questions before you join the group. It is the nicest group on Facebook.
Fact.
We really love our listeners and our followers there. And once again, it's 3 simple questions and you can hang out there. But we're also on Twitter and Instagram at What a Creep. Twitter, it's actually at CreepPod because somebody had What a Creep for 10 years and never used it.
Creep.
Instagram, it's What a Creep Podcast. And we do have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. I just sent out a bunch of stickers from people who requested it. It's also a place you could send us your suggestions for creeps or non-creeps. We really love it when you send us suggestions for those. It's super helpful. And Sonia, do you want to talk about the website?
Yes, you can go to whatacreeppodcast.com and it's everything you ever wanted to know, but we're afraid to ask about our podcast. And it has a link to our merch shop. And we have our logo. You can put it on whatever you want, your tote bags and your t-shirts or whatever. And I did upload a new design for Damn It Max. Damn It Max. My mug arrived the other day. It is perfect. It's real cute. I think it's really cute.
It's adorable.
And it doesn't, everybody drink. Damn It Max.
That's Sonia's dog if you're new to this.
Yes. And he likes to bark every once in a while. He also really he hates creeps. He's very passionate. He thinks they're rough. He thinks they're rough.
We also have a Patreon page if you want to support the show that way. The first 3 seasons are on Patreon right now. We also have bonus episodes that go out twice a month. We're going to do a Galentine's Day special just for our Patreon listeners. So go to Patreon. We also put out a newsletter once a month there. I also want to give a shout out really quickly to people who left us 5-star reviews in iTunes. Lady Con, who's actually a friend of mine. We're in a writer's group together and she's awesome. And you will convince no one. Those 2 people left us 5-star reviews.
Y'all have the best names.
You do. Wherever you get your podcasts, please review, subscribe. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
Seriously, if you want some stickers just to show your love for the show, we are happy to drop them in the mail for you. We know money's tight, we're all
or tell people about the show.
Yep.
That's a great way to help us out. Like, tell your friends.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
We're going to start with the golden boy,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady. Sonia, you're going to lead this discussion.
Yes, I am. So here we go. Tom Brady. He was a quarterback in the NFL for 22 seasons. That is crazy long. That is crazy. Just FYI. He spent his first 20 seasons with the New England Patriots. Boo. He did boo. And then his final 2 seasons, he was on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. LOL. Brady holds nearly every major quarterback record, passing yards, completions, touchdown passes. This probably means a lot to you people. To me, it's just a bunch of words. Games started. He's never had a losing season. He leads the NFL in like quarterback wins and regular season wins and playoff wins and Super Bowl MVPs and all the things. He is also the oldest player to be named Super Bowl MVP and to win a Super Bowl. He was a starting quarterback at age 43.
Jesus.
That's crazy to me. And the oldest NFL MVP at age 40. He was also voted one of the most punchable faces by me. And he is a cheating creep. So sources for Tom Brady, ESPN, Forbes, SB Nation, Sports Illustrated, and of course, our good friends at Wikipedia. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. was born August 3rd, 1977 in San Mateo, California.
Yes, he was. Bay Area boy.
Right. Yeah, right next door to me. While growing up, Brady attended San Francisco 49er games. That's back when they used to play at Candlestick. And he would watch Joe Montana, who was obviously his hero. And he was a lot of people's heroes back in the day. Joe Montana was the shit. He's like the biggest star here in the Bay Area. In high school, Brady excelled in both football and baseball. He entered the Major League Baseball draft in 1995, and he was actually picked up by the Montreal Expos when that was a team. But he instead decided to go to the University of Michigan and play football.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was news to me. In 2000, he was chosen 6th in the 6th round of the NFL draft by the Patriots, and that's where he played for 20 years. And it's pretty rare. Like a lot of players don't stay at teams that long. So that's something. In 2000, I already said that. Okay. While Brady is certainly responsible for a lot of the Patriots' success, and let's be honest, when the Patriots lose, we all win, right? Like only people like Patriots people are very obnoxious fans. I'll just say that. They're not I don't care about football. And even I'm like, I don't like the Patriots. Because it's boring. It's boring when the same teams win all the time. Whatever. That's not why he's a creep. But he's linked to 2 of the NFL's like biggest cheating scandals. The first one is called Spygate. And Spygate, so in 2007, the Patriots were found to be illegally videotaping the Jets coaches' signals. So if you go back a couple of seasons, you might remember that we did an episode on the Houston Astros who were doing the same thing. Patriots were doing it too. They got caught. There was an NFL investigation, and the Patriots organization and the coach, Bill Belichick, I believe is how he got hit with fines, and they had to forfeit their first draft pick. Big deal. But instead of like really investigating it, like how far it went back, the NFL president, that's Roger Goodell, who I'm sure we're going to do like a whole episode on at some point. He just ordered members of the staff to like destroy the tapes and the evidence and all that. But Sports Illustrated did some digging, and it turned out that Spygate goes all the way back as far as 2000 when Brady joined the team.
Ooh.
And the timing of Brady's rise to success on that team in relation to the videotaping is it's just a little too much of a coincidence. It turns out that other NFL teams do not trust the Patriots at all. They commonly clear out trash cans when they're staying in hotels in New England because the Patriots go through the trash. This is the thing that people do, apparently. They also said that sometimes they run fake plays when doing walkthroughs at the stadium because the Patriots are spying on them. Other teams have found other places to practice so that the Patriots can't watch them. Several teams have complained that their headsets malfunction when they're playing at the Patriots stadium. And former Colts head coach Tommy Dungy, that's a name apparently, Dungy, confirmed rumors that in 2010, Peyton Manning was so worried that the Patriots had bugged the locker room that he only discussed game plans in the hallway. That's bananas. And if you think Tom Brady probably wasn't involved in that, then you're very naive. He is the leader, the coach.
Right.
And Tom Brady are the leaders of that team. And he 100% knew.
He's not only a huge star in football, but he's married to a supermodel. And he's very, very famous.
Yes.
And with that comes power.
Exactly. He's got his own lifestyle brand and all this stuff. So he 100% is involved. I will be taking no questions. Okay. So the other one is Deflategate. It's probably a little bit more well known. So during the 2014 AFC Championship game against the Indiana Colts, Tom Brady had footballs deflated. And it's and you're like, what's the big fucking deal? Who cares? Who cares? Well, it turns out when you remove air from the footballs, it makes it easier to grip, to throw, to catch.
Right.
It gives them an edge. So at halftime during this game, NFL officials were inspecting the footballs. I originally wrote in here, inspected the balls, which then made me giggle because I'm a fucking child. 5 of the 11 footballs measured were deflated. There's an official thing. They're measured at a full 2 pounds below the claimed original inflation target. And I was translation, they were deflated.
Yeah.
They were deflated. That's all you need to know. The coach and Brady, of course, denied any wrongdoing. And the NFL commissioned an investigation. And they got this lawyer named Ted Wells to do a big investigation. And it was for 4 months. It's so crazy. By the way, they won that game and went on to the Super Bowl and they won.
Yeah, it was all decided. Yeah.
Yeah, it was decided. Meanwhile, there's this investigation too. It didn't change. They still went on and won. It didn't matter. Anyway, he concluded, and I put these as quotes because I'll tell you why. It says, it was concluded that it was, quote, more probable than not that Brady had been at least genuinely aware that the Patriots footballs used in the AFC Championship game held this year had been deflated to air pressure levels below what the league allowed. Way to take a fucking stand, Ted Wells. You fucking wishy-washy bastard. He might have been vaguely aware that the footballs were maybe deflated. Fuck you, Ted. Anyway, he issued this report, and there's also in the report these 2 equipment assistants had a text chain going back and forth, and it was all about inflating and deflating balls. I'm sorry, I'm a child. Needles, about gifts they got from Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was a constant reference point in these text messages. They referred to him as the deflator, quote unquote, in these text messages, and they went back as far as May 2014. The investigators asked for Tom Brady's cell phone, and because he's totally innocent, he destroyed his cell phone before he met with investigators. Yeah.
Oh my
Don't
God.
be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Giselle just beat it with whatever stilettos or something.
It's who knows? It's totally what an innocent person does, by the way.
Right.
Goodall deemed the Patriots and Brady guilty of conduct detrimental to the integrity of and public confidence in the game of football.
LOL.
LOL. Apparently, that's the league's highest crime, FYI. And they punished him, I'm going to put this in quotes, by suspending him for 4 games. But Tom Brady's super rich and very famous, and he hired lawyers. He appealed that suspension. It went all the way to the U.S. federal court, and it was overturned.
Wow.
So,
He's
yeah.
powerful.
He's super powerful. Here's a couple of other rando notes about Tom Brady. In 2015, he clearly displayed a Make America Great Again hat in his locker, which, if you don't know, and I'm sure you do, it's the calling card of our favorite disgraced former president, Donald Trump. When it became too hard to answer questions about his support and Trump's racism, sexism, sexual assault, homophobia, and transphobia, he conveniently decided to, quote, stick to sports. By the way, African-American and gay players are not afforded the same thing. Like, they have to speak always to every issue that impacts African-Americans or gay people, or only white people are afforded this thing. So also, even though he's one of the highest paid players in the NFL, he earns hundreds of millions of dollars over his career. He's married to one of the highest paid supermodels in history. He got $1 million in the Paycheck Protection Program that was set up for small businesses during COVID.
Oh, come on. No.
For his lifestyle brand.
You've got to be kidding me.
The millionaires are the ones who really suffer. You fucking creep.
Stop it.
I will say one more thing. There is this, and I used to think this, and this is why I put this in here. Tom Brady, he has 2 kids with Giselle Bundchen, or however you pronounce her name, Bundchen, or Giselle. She's Giselle. She's super beautiful.
One name, yeah.
Yeah. He also has another child named John. The kid goes by Jack, and that's by his former girlfriend, Bridget Monahan. And she's a really great actress. She's gorgeous. I didn't bring this up really. It's not as creepy as you think. Like, Bridget and Tom Brady dated for several years. They broke up. He started dating Giselle. After they broke up, she found out she was pregnant.
Right.
So it's like, I was under some impression that, like, she was pregnant. He met Giselle and he was like, bye. That's not what happened. Like, apparently it was like after she still did like the single mom thing, which I'm sure was super hard for her. And they seem to be really good co-parents, and that they're actually on pretty good terms.
That's good.
So I just wanted to say, like, once again, he's not like 100% creep. He's our lowest level creep today.
Yeah.
But by all accounts seems to be a good co-parent. And I wanted to put to rest that he didn't just ditch his pregnant girlfriend, which
he didn't pull a Billy Crudup.
No, which I totally thought was a thing for years. I was like, what an asshole. But that's actually not what happened. So that's our first creep, Tom Brady.
Excellent work, Sonia.
Thank you.
And all apologies to our Massachusetts fans.
If you like the Patriots, it's fine. Like, it's just sports.
You know, the
friend.
reputation.
It's just sports.
Come on,
yeah.
like, they know it. Philly fans and Boston fans are like the worst, and everyone knows that, and they embrace it. It's part of the fun.
Yes.
All right. So my first creep today. It's a lot higher level creep. We talked about him in our very first episode when we talked about Lance Armstrong. Lance's parents were in high school when they had him, which is not shameful. I mean, sometimes it's just what happens in life. It happens to a couple of people on my list. But they named their son Lance after a football player named Lance Rentzel. And I want to go into him a little bit more than I did last time. Lance Rentzel he was an only child, born 1943. He grows up in Texas, tall, blonde, good looking, nice Christian boy. He plays the organ. LOL. I'm not making a joke. Giggle tee. He goes to Oklahoma, which is a big football school. Then he plays for the Vikings in the late 60s. And then in 1969 or 70, he marries Joey Heatherton. And she was like this gorgeous blonde that, like, a Goldie Hawn type. Like, she was very funny. She could sing. And there was all these talk shows and shows that on TV where people go on and sing and dance and do sketches and skits and shit like that. So Joey Heatherton would go on with her boyfriend Lance, her husband Lance, and he would sing like, anybody here seen my old friend, with an organ. And then
LOL Oregon.
LOL Oregon. He has some kind of weird dust up that happens in the Vikings. He does really well in the Vikings, but for some reason the team trades him and it's not really talked about. And so he gets sent to the Dallas Cowboys, which is, 1968-69 Dallas must have been a hoot. I mean, the discos and all that shit.
Yes.
And Joey Heatherton's with him. And so he's like, oh God, in Texas. They know who this guy is. He's one of their own. And he apparently has a problem, Sonia. So on Thursday, November 19th, 1970, this is in November is when the playoffs game starts, right? And then the Super Bowl usually happens in January or February. And he's kind of freaked out about an upcoming game. And he's driving around his Dallas neighborhood in his Thunderbird. And he sees a 10-year-old girl on her front lawn. And he pulls over and exposes himself to her. And
fucking creep.
Turns out he had done this twice before in St. Paul. Never was arrested. He was always let off because he was a big football star.
Yes.
This time, this girl in Dallas, her dad is a big-time lawyer in Dallas, and said to the cops, "You're going to arrest him, right? My daughter," like the neighbor saw him do it. And so the neighbor took down his what's the license number?
Yes.
Like the whole neighborhood's like, get this asshole off the streets. Like this is what we do to protect kids. And he was who was the Dallas Cowboys coach for years? Tom Landry. He was the, wore the hat and everything like that. They put him on paid leave. They took him out for a few
Such
games.
a punishment. Such a punishment.
It was such an embarrassment. I mean, it was embarrassing for Joey Heatherton. She didn't know her husband was such a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
He gets traded to the LA Rams. And there are jokes that start happening. There's a lot of jokes about Lance and Rentzel and all these Lance jokes. And it's like, do you understand he's like akin to a child molester? Like this is
so gross.
It's so gross what he did. And he gets probation. He goes to LA. His wife leaves him, and then he gets busted with marijuana. So he's like, what do I do? And he's like, I know, I'll write my biography. That'll fix everything.
That'll fix it.
And it comes out in 1972, and it's called "When All the Laughter Died in Sorrow."
That totally reminds me of the Jerry Lewis movie, like when the clown cried.
When the clowns cried, yeah. And it's like 50 years after he dies, you could see it or something ridiculous like that.
Oh my gosh!
In this book, he basically says, "I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a sex creep. I'm not a sex pest. I'm an exhibitionist." And that's really my problem. First, he claims he's angry at her father that he had, because he's a prominent attorney, like he's the reason why he got prosecuted for this. And that's the only reason why.
Not because he committed a crime, but because he got caught.
Because he got caught. And,
right.
And he also says, and we said this before, we'll say this again, if it's not one thing, it's your mother.
It's your mother.
His mother smothered him, and she was very meddlesome, Sonia. She just didn't give him a break.
Moms, what are you going to do?
She calls his victims liars, by the way. He gives her a chance in his book to write back to anything that he's saying because he's such a cool guy. So she writes back, and you see it in Italian. I read this fucking book, by the way. I could tell you guys. Anyway, I have it in the show notes, by the way. You can, if you want to buy a $30 copy of this piece of crap, you can do it yourselves. But let me just quote something to you. From page 26. "The humiliation crushed me. I was treated like a guilty man. Nobody even assuming I am innocent. Guilty though I was. I thought later it was a terrible thing that the press can do to a man, innocent or not, all getting painted in the same brush." He never mentions his victim. He barely. Now I went a step further because I'm writing a book right now, and I have to do a lot of research. And I belong to newspapers.com. I pay money, but it's very fancy. And I looked up all these articles about Lance Rentzel, all the major U.S. papers.
Oh my gosh!
In 1971, 1972. Nobody calls him a creep. Everybody says He is so brave to write this book. I'm going to bark. He's
so gross.
This man, he's actually speaking out about a health issue. And part of his contrition is that he would speak to college psychology students and said, I'm not a pervert. I'm just a guy with a thing. Like I'm not an assaulter.
Yeah.
And
look, it's just my kink, man. It's just my kink.
It's just my kink, the Louis C.K. defense. All of these, I'm looking at all these articles and they're all like, God, he's so brave for speaking out, for doing
disgusting.
things. It's disgusting. You would think he paid a huge price. No, he didn't play football anymore after that. Lots of people don't get to play football, by the way. It's considered pretty tough. He also, after a couple of years after all this happened, he was hired by a sports magazine with a friend to go to the Super Bowl or the Sports Bowl starting in 1975 for the next few years. And they would dress up in goofy costumes and ask silly questions of the players, starting a tradition of asking silly questions of players at the NFL.
That's
because
so
he's being
fun.
so punished, Sonia.
So fun.
We don't know. He's never been arrested for it since then. I'm not sure. I think he's still alive, but I don't know what he's doing. But that's our creep today, our second creep, Lance Rentzel. And remember, once again, the book, When All the Laughter Died in Sorrow.
It doesn't sound like a real title.
No. It's
what an asshole.
And a couple of these articles were like AP stories that just got blasted everywhere. And it was the same thing over and over again. Like, he's not that bad. And he's so brave for writing a book.
Yeah, good for him. Writing's hard. What an asshole. Good job, Margo.
Thank you.
So our next one is Ben Rothlisberger. That's right, everyone. I spelled it phonetically. Roethlisberger, or as the name my friend Corso and I call him, Ben Rapistberger. That's what we call him. He is a former NFL quarterback. He played 18 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was born on March 2nd, 1982. He grew up in Findlay, Ohio. That's where Corso's from. It's another reason she hates his guts so much. He spent his high school years playing football, basketball, and baseball. He went to Miami University, Miami in Ohio, by the way, not the other Miami. And then he was picked up by the Steelers.
Another hated team, by the way.
Yes, he was their first round pick in 2004, and he signed a 6-year, $40 million contract. And he played very well for them. He, won Rookie of the Year. Apparently that's a cool thing. His first Pro Bowl selection in 2007. He became the youngest best football extravaganza winning quarterback in NFL history at the age of 23. He's considered one of the greats. He's after 18 years as a starting quarterback. He's like 5th all-time yards passing, completions, 8th in touchdowns. Like, he's in the same breath with like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Those folks.
Hacks.
Yeah, those hacks. So, that's him on the field, but off the field, he's an asshole and a serial sexual assaulter. So for this creep, we've got an article from Defector written by Diana Moskowitz, Sports Illustrated, Sportscasting, and of course Wikipedia. So let's start on the lower end here. Turns out he's kind of an entitled prick when he goes to restaurants. I think people who treat waiters shitty are garbage people. They're garbage people. Yeah. So the owner of a popular bar in Pittsburgh called the Cabana Bar says that when Big Ben, that's what I'm going to be referring to him as, by the way, because I don't want to say his name over and over. Big Ben and his group of hangers-on come to the bar. He often refuses to pay the $5 cover. $5 The guy gets millions of dollars.
But he's
won't
famous,
pay the fucking
Sonia.
cover.
That hurts his ego.
And then he uses the variation of the "do you know who I am" line to intimidate employees at the door. He did it a lot. He's super rude to employees. He was also overheard making like lewd comments to a pregnant waitress.
Oh, great.
At a, did your boyfriend forget to pull out?
Oh.
He's so gross. He's disgusting. After most home games, Big Ben and his like other players would go to this English pub and grill called the Fox and the Hound, and twice he would walk out without even paying his bill. Like, this is like shitty stuff. Like, wait staff, they depend on your tips.
In America, they don't make a lot of money by the hour. They count on their tips to survive.
Yeah, so very often he would just try to leave without paying. Like one time a waitress actually chased him down in the parking lot and was like, "You owe me money."
Good for her.
And like, yeah, and he actually paid her. And then other times, like other players like go back in and pay his bill because he doesn't pay his bill. He's a prick. In July 2008, Big Ben and a group of his pals visited the Cabo Wabo Cantina at Harrah's Resort. Is that the one that's owned by Sammy Hagar? Okay. Yeah.
So, shock. Tequila. Big tequila.
So it turns out Ben was a close friend of like Harrah's like North Nevada president, John Coster. And while he was there, not Costner, Coster. So while he's in this restaurant in Cabo Wabo, it's just fun to say, the group mocked, made fun of, mimicked their waiter. Like they were just assholes. They were huge assholes to him, because the waiter dared to ask a woman in the group for her ID to prove she was 21. This is why they were. Yeah, so it turns out she was 27, but he was like he was a huge asshole to them, like to this waiter. Big Ben left, and he asked the waiter, like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I'm friends with? Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. Eventually,
do you know Sammy Hagar's big hit? Tequila.
You know? It turned out like he got that waiter fired.
Oh, fuck him.
Yeah, that waiter had worked there for 12 years.
Well, fuck the manager too for letting that happen. Sorry.
Totally.
Yeah. Fuck you, Sammy.
Yeah. So
whatever you are.
That's just minor stuff. We're going to get to the serious stuff now. So while at that Harrah's Lake Tahoe resort thing, when he's not busy like getting wait staff fired from their jobs, he called the hotel front desk and had them send up this woman, Andrea McNulty, to his room to fix a television. He said his television was broken. She got up there. TV was fine. He groped her and he sexually assaulted her.
Oh, no.
FYI, he's 6'5", 241
right,
pounds.
He looks like a beast. I mean, he just looks really big.
Yeah. She reported the incident. This is what you're supposed to do. By the way, the women in here, very often, they're doing what you're supposed to do. She reports it. They did nothing about it. They told her that Big Ben's close friends with the owner. Like, what are you going to do? And that you will be fired if you start spreading rumors that this happened. And that they told her he can have anyone he wants.
No, he cannot.
No, he cannot.
No.
Eventually, she filed a civil complaint, and he was forced to pay her. It was less than a game check for him. Yeah,
she's better lawyers.
Yeah, it was bullshit. It sucks.
It's
few
also
months
against
later,
the law, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
A few months later, Big Ben staying at his off-season house in his gated community in Georgia. It's like 2 days after his 28th birthday, and he went to a town called Midgeville. I don't. Maybe
Is that
I
where
got
the
that
devil
right.
went down?
I don't know. The devil went down to Midgeville. They changed it to Georgia because it was really hard to say. And it's a college town, home to Georgia College and the State University and stuff like that. He went with his entourage, including 2 off-duty police officers who work as his bodyguard. Right. And they ended up at a club called Capital City. And he's like in the VIP area in the back, and he's like buying shots for all these women. And a lot of the women are like, we're underage. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're just doing shots. And at one point, he like held up a tray of tequila and he's like, oh, my bitches, take some shots. Like,
I do that too. Is that bad?
It's different coming from you. Way different.
Is that bad?
Yeah. One of these women was a 20-year-old college student. Around 1 a.m., she walked to the restroom, and Big Ben followed her to the restroom, went in, and the bodyguards stood guard.
Oh, no.
One of the woman's friends walked up to, so the bodyguards, once again, off-duty police officers.
Oh, they don't give a shit. Oh, shit.
She walks up to him, says, my friend is back there. She doesn't need to be back there. You bring her up here right now. And the guard was like, just shoot her away. Another friend tried to open the door and failed, and they kicked her out of the VIP area. A third woman tried to get a bar manager to do something, and he told her that Big Ben wouldn't do anything bad.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. And by the way, the bar manager actually confirmed saying that in his own statement. He's all, I really didn't think he would do anything. So Big Ben comes out of the restroom first, and then the woman comes out, and her two friends just get her, and like they go outside, and she says like, he raped me.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
It's so awful. And the women, once again, they did everything they were supposed to do. They found the first cop they saw. They told him everything. And the cop was this man named Sergeant Jerry Blash. And he wrote the criminal report, but he told them, you shouldn't even bother. Like, he has a lot of money and you're just wasting your time.
And it's football and you're in the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually this cop resigned because in the middle of the investigation, like he made comments to those other off-duty cops, like described her as a drunken bitch. And this pisses me off that women can do this. He never interviewed Ben Rothlisberger.
Big Ben?
Yeah, Big Ben. Never interviewed him. Didn't secure the crime scene. The janitor went in there the next day, cleaned the bathroom with Clorox and Pine Sol because no one told him not to. And then after taking statements from everybody, he shared all the statements with Big Ben's management team and Ben himself.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. No charges were filed.
This guy.
The Georgia's district attorney ruled that there was insufficient DNA evidence, but he did like say, and this is a quote, he told Big Ben to, quote, grow up.
Well, that'll learn him.
Yeah, that'll teach him. He said that the accuser wrote to the DA and she said she didn't want to pursue charges because the media attention was getting too much for her and it was intrusive and she was scared.
I'm sure she was being harassed at school. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said she was not recanting her accusation. She just was scared.
That's really tough.
It's really scary.
She went to the bathroom. I mean, for God's sakes.
It's awful. And eventually, like, he was suspended for 6 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For violating the league's personal conduct policy. And then it was reduced to 4 games because football. Yeah. What a fucking creep, right?
Yeah. This is why I don't follow it anymore. I used to love football. I can't watch it now. Yeah.
Dude, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I remember when he was coming to play in San Francisco and like women were tweeting like this was a couple of years ago. This might have been 2010 or something. They were like tweeting to each other like, everyone watch out.
Right.
Ben Rapistburger's in town. Like literally people were warning each other on Twitter. He's fucking sucks. Fuck that guy. He's trash.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And that's our creed, Ben Rapistburger.
Sorry, she would just say there with her arms folded, like so pissed off.
I'm like,
no, you gotta say something. It's different now that we can see each other.
I know. I'm really sorry. Yes.
All right, you guys. So I am going to do we're going to talk about our last creep. this is an intense one, but I hope it ends on a good note for all of you. This is Rae Carruth. He's on, I have the Muderpedia page, his Wikipedia, the New York Times, and a lovely Sports Illustrated article called "The Boy They Couldn't Kill." I miss Sports Illustrated. They had some great writers.
Yeah. It's true. They did.
They really did. So Rae Carruth, if you're not from the States, this was a big story about 20 plus years ago. He was a football player for the Carolina Panthers. He's originally from Sacramento, born 1974, and he was an okay student. This is the thing. Until he was a football player and until he did what he did, he'd never been arrested for anything, never had a speck of trouble, not in high school, not in college. That people knew. We'll find out later. Of course, women knew.
Right.
This is how this works. Yes.
We all know. We all know.
We tell each other because you can't tell the cops. Yep. You can't tell,
No.
Right. He went to Valley High School in Sacramento. He then went to the University of Colorado in Boulder, which must have been a fucking blast. Even though I don't ski, I would love to go there. I love Boulder. He is drafted and sent to the Carolina Panthers. The team was only a couple of years old, and it's a big deal in Charlotte to have this major league team there.
Yeah.
It's a big stop here in America for banks and things like that, and it's a big deal for them. Joins the Panthers, has an okay first season. He's a rookie, but they give him, it's like $3 million for 4 years. This is like 20 years ago, so it's not like the big money they have now, but it's pretty damn good compared to what he had. He's dating a few women and while he's there, and one of them is a very beautiful woman named Sharika Adams. And Sharika her mother was a teenager when she had Sharika, and her family, the Adams family, in North Carolina, they're a very proud family, and they're Christians, and they all believe in education. So Sharita's mother becomes pregnant her senior year in high school, and her parents were like, "You're smart. You need to go to college. We'll help you take care of the baby while you go to a 4-year school." She goes to a 4-year school, gets a degree in psychology, gets a job at IBM. She does really well for herself. And so Sharika just comes from a very loving home. She's beautiful and hot, and there are all these basketball players and football players. They're all kind of hanging around her, and she's dating a few of them. And Rae is one of them. And Ray's very handsome. When you see these pictures of him, he's pretty hot too. They have this relationship, and she becomes pregnant. She's 24. Ray's like, "Well, you're going to get an abortion, right?" And she said, "No, I'm going to have this baby. I'm excited. This is a blessing. And he, of course, says things like, "We weren't dating. We just hooked up sometimes." Right. And so one day they're having arguments about having this baby. And her mother says, "Do not give him the Carruth name. If he's not going to marry you and he's not going to take care of you." And it turns out he had a kid during college. He had to be sued to pay child support.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he only paid half of it. The woman who had his first child said, "I don't even care about that. Just, I want you to have a relationship with him. I want him to know his father." And Rae goes, "I'm not doing that. You can't make me." And boy, it'd really be too bad if you died in a car accident. Yeah.
What an ass. Oh my God. What a fucking prick.
Yeah. He's apparently made this threat a few times to women. There's another girlfriend he had in Charlotte, and she got pregnant, and he basically bullied her into an abortion and said, "I'm not going to take care of you. I know people who could hurt you. I know So on the outside, dude, this is ridiculous. Here's why this makes me. There's this thing, like right now, like abortion is under attack here in this country, and we're making it like this country is making it harder and harder for women to get this. And it's all about punishing women, right,
for sex and not the men. And the men they just can do whatever they want. They don't have to take responsibility if they don't want to. Like, it's just fucking bullshit. It makes me insanely angry. And like these women that want to have the babies, it's their body, it's their choice. They should have the baby. If he doesn't want anything to do with it, like, but they like need the money for it. I'm sorry, you got to fucking pay. You play,
it's your
you pay.
responsibility. But it's like, nobody,
Yes.
how many friends do you know that are owed so much money in child support and alimony?
I know some people that know so much fucking money. So much money.
And it's not high on the list for the police or anybody to take care of. You've got to really fuck up for them to come after you. I mean,
yes.
So that's a girl that he talked into or forced to get an abortion. He just basically said, I'll beat you until you have, you not have this child.
Yeah.
Sharika was threatened several times while she was pregnant. He would say things like, boy, it'd suck if you fell down a flight of stairs, or if this would happen to you, or you should just be really careful. Towards the end of her pregnancy, she was at 8 months, and it's November of 99. They go to a movie together. He's kind of sweet talking her during the movie. The Bone Collector was the movie, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And she lives in a really nice section in Charlotte. He's following her home, and he's going to hang out with her. He blocks off. So she's driving along. So he's in the car behind her. She's driving. And then all of a sudden she gets cut off in the front, and Rae's behind her, and she's boxed in. What happens is that someone gets out of their car and shoots into her vehicle.
Oh my God.
Several times. And she can't move. She's stuck. She's shot several times, 8 months pregnant. And then Rae takes off, and the person he hired to hurt her and spent $2,000 fucking dollars on her to do this. $2,000. She gets on the phone. She has a cell phone, and she calls 911. And for 12 minutes, she's talking to an operator. And all she'll say is, Rae Carruth, Rae Carruth, Rae Carruth did this to me. Please save my baby.
Oh my God.
She's losing so much blood. They get her into the hospital. Rae Carruth's name is put out there. And it's sort of like George Seifert was the coach then. He's like, well, I don't know what to do. We'll just have to put her on. You know, these women.
Yeah.
She's in the hospital for a month in a coma.
Oh my God.
And the baby lost a lot of blood. The baby lost air. It was starving.
Oh my gosh. It's so awful.
He pays $3 million for a bail so that he could be home. And the judge says, well, if she dies or the baby dies, you're going to have to come back here. And she dies a couple of weeks before Christmas. Her mother gets the baby. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you get the fuck out of here. Like, he's not a Carruth. His name is Chancellor. Rae goes on the run because he's supposed to turn himself in.
Right.
He goes to trial. They catch him, and he goes to trial. And they brought his former girlfriends on, the defense did, to boost him up. And the women on the stand admitted, like, no, he threatened me.
What the? Dude didn't pay for the right lawyers. That's like, that really backfired.
Yeah.
What a fucking garbage person.
Never admits it. He's like, oh, these guys, they wanted me to be in a drug deal with them, but I said no, so they were framing me by doing this. And he doesn't explain how he drove away. It doesn't explain goddamn thing. This poor woman dies. And the baby has developmental challenges because his brain was starving.
Yes.
He is sentenced to 18 years. 18.
Served more than that. Served life. Fuck that guy.
He was just released a few years ago, so he served 18 years. And it wasn't until the very, very, very end when they had to let him go. He's not on parole, they had to let him go. He wrote a letter to her mother and said, I'm sorry for what happened and my part in it. Not what I did.
Yes.
It's all like, things happened to me and I happened to be there and I caused this tragedy.
Fucking narcissist.
The worst. And about 10 years ago, Sports Illustrated does a story, and it's The Boy They Couldn't Kill. That's about Chancellor, and he has CP, cerebral palsy. It takes him many, many years to learn how to walk. He was in a wheelchair for most of his life starting out. He can walk now.
That's amazing.
And she takes care of him. Rae's mother tried to sue for custody. Rae has tried to sue for custody.
What? No.
And it's like, no. Chancellor is an Adams. That's
Yeah.
Chancellor. We're going to end it on a good note. This past June, Chancellor's 21 years old, and he graduated high school.
That's
And he went to
awesome.
a regular high school with the other kids, and he got to walk on the stage and get his diploma. And his mother is wherever she is, she's smiling.
Yeah.
And that's my last creep of the day. Our last creep of the day, Rae Carruth.
Good job, Margo. That's so great. Like, he's so lucky. Is such a good grandmother.
Oh, she loves him, and she just looked at it as a blessing. Like, I lost my daughter, but I have him.
Yeah.
And I'm
just
put all my love into him.
what a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking entitlement
Yeah.
of just, I don't want to accept responsibility for my actions.
That's on you, not on me.
Consequences are pesky. They're so pesky.
Just wear a fucking condom.
Yeah, seriously. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Ugh.
Normally we end with a long non-creep, but I think we could just give our short favorite, like, non-creeps in football. Did you have one?
Yeah. I was gonna say Colin Kaepernick is fucking rad, man.
He is fucking rad.
He's fucking rad, and how he's being treated by NFL is fucking bullshit. It's another reason why I don't watch football.
Yep.
I think that dude's a hero. I really do. And I'm here for it. I think he's a non-creep. There's a documentary on Netflix if y'all are interested in learning more. Who did you pick?
I picked Steve Young from the 49ers because
we're all about 49ers here, aren't we? Because Colin Kaepernick was also 49ers.
He's a big hunk of a guy. He's like adorable. Yeah. I always felt like I kind of, because Joe Montana just took over everything.
Yeah.
And he was treated like dog shit for just wanting to play football, which is all he wanted to do with his life. He's a big star. But I also want to say in 1988, it had a game against the Minnesota Vikings. Lance Rentzel, who they used to play for, he ran for 49 yards for a touchdown to win the game. So
wow.
That's my big non-creep. Steve Young.
These are good ones. These are good ones. And Joe Montana is still like, he's a huge star here.
Oh,
like
Jerry Rice.
People lose their shit when Joe Montana, because he shows up at Giants games sometimes and everyone's just, like everyone freaks out. He's such a star.
There's a Peacock show about him right now.
Yeah, you've been
like
you've been
6 or 7
it.
parts. Yeah, I've been talking about it on the Dorking Out show, which reminds me, we have another podcast. If you like the sound of our voices, we have a show called Dorking Out where we dork out about movies, and currently we have Pump Up the Volume.
It happened. It's streaming on HBO Max, and we finally did our long-awaited episode on that. And then our next episode will be with Adam, our podcasting brother from another mother. Adam Risky's coming back, and we're going to watch Waiting to Exhale, which I am currently in my Angela Bassett setting the fire and flicking her cigarette stage of my life, so I feel like it's gonna hit me in a good way.
I think it's gonna hit you in all the places.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm just fucking delighted that Adam's like, hey, can I come on and do Waiting to Exhale? I was like, oh my god, yes.
Feel free to follow us on social media. We love it when you use the Annie Potts GIF. We got one when you're giving us suggestions for creeps, and once again for non-creeps. Both of those are really important. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com, where I am writing again, everybody. The floodgates are open. And you can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Where can people find you, Margo?
You can find me at Brooklyn Fitchick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram. My site is brooklynfitchick.com. Everybody, in the meantime, enjoy the sports ball this weekend. I'll be watching the ads.
Yeah, just enjoy your best football extravaganza. Please be safe.
Yes,
there's there's a lot of parties and people drink and go out. Just be safe, and wear your masks and wash your hands.
Don't be a creep.
Don't be a creep.
Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.